What is going on, legend? But welcome back to Beyond the 90, and we are no longer Interested FC. Well, we are Interested FC still, but we're closing in on a player. There's lots of good sources coming out about this one. Victor Kristiansen. We're going to get into some of the stats. We're going to get the formations he can play for Leicester City. We're going to compare him to some other players in the squad. Some things that I like, some things that I don't like as well about him. We're going to break that all down in this video. So make sure you check the links on the timeline to check what part you want to skip to if you want to as well. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And apart from that, let's get into it. So you all know Leicester City by now. They're a team, Interested FC. They always seem to be interested and never actually go and put the bid in. We've had so many players that have been interested in, and we've never actually gone further than that. One of the things I want to get into is this is actually a valued source. We're going to get into some of the sources now. So they are John Percy, who's one of the leading people in the Leicester sphere. Just to bear in mind, it's not complete just yet, but there is talks to get this done very soon, hopefully. Rob Tanner tweeted about it. He's also, again, it's not confirmed just yet, but again, this one looks promising. He actually mentioned this on our full hour interview we did with him, so make sure you go check that out. The good old Fabrizio Romano also tweeted about it. And last but not least, probably the most reliable source in terms of this, the official Copenhagen Twitter as well. So we're looking at this again. Can confirm an offer from Leicester City. Negotiations are currently underway between particular parties, but there's no certainty the agreement will be reached. So again, it's not like this is definitely going to happen. However, it's more than likely when you get some of these top journalists tweeting about it as well. So what do we know about him? Luckily for you, I've been doing some research for him. I've been looking through some of his statistics and stuff. I'm really excited to bring you into it. So essentially, he's been playing as a left back this season. And for the majority of his career, he's a left back, 20 years old, about 181. We'll get into some stats later on. But for a player, from what I'm reading off Twitter in Copenhagen, again, quite unfortunate to see him go, but they appreciate the money. He's got some good stats about him, about 20 million euros. So it can be quite a hefty one, considering initially they were looking when it was first announced about four to five, maybe up to 8. Again, they've gone above and beyond for this one. He seems like a mature player for his age. At 20 years old, he's got 51 caps at the time of recording, which is pretty sensational considering Luke Thomas is about a year older than him and has got 47. So he's had a lot of experience playing in the first team, which is great to see. So for Denmark's under 21s, he's played 7 times for them. So potentially that could be part of his thinking in the back of his head. Move to England, get that move up, potentially get into the next Euros and into the next World Cup squad for Denmark. So now that's over, let's look into the statistics. Let's get deep into it because, again, I think this is quite an interesting buy for Leicester City. And we're going to compare him, again, to players that we've got in our current squad. So we're going on to fbref. I'll try and leave the link in the description for you as well. But again, some of the statistics look very red at the moment. But again, this is all about going forward. This is the bit that we're really interested in towards the bottom. So this is the more defensive stats. Considering who is compared to the number of tackles, for example, 91. Again, very good percentile. Obviously, very, very good for that. Interceptions, 1.12, so 57%. Blocks, which is something we desperately need for Leicester City. 99% percentile. Clearances, 81, and aerial duels, 9, which is obviously not a good statistic for us. Leicester City have not been really good in the air. However, if we need anybody, it is that defensive position. And tackles and clearances is something that we desperately need in this team. Hopefully, again, we'll have to adapt to see what happens with him, adapting to going from the Danish league to English football. But I think he'll be hopefully a good player going forward. So looking at sofascore, looking some more in-depth into the player. Again, you can see that he plays mostly as a left back. One of his strengths is obviously tackling and no outstanding weaknesses to him, which is pretty good in my opinion. Then coming into more of the statistics here. So we're looking at the overall attributes of him. Then we've got, again, defensively, he's pretty solid, which is really good. That's the main thing that we need. Again, we've got the creativity going forward. We need that defensively at the back. Creativity, 48, not too great. Attacking, 40, not too great. Again, he's not supposed to be that kind of attacking player. Technique, 45, not too bad. And tackling, 47. But the main thing for him and the main advantage is that defensive ability. So just on that same sofascore link, we've got, this is what he's played this season. So total played 15. He's started 13 of them, which is obviously good. Minutes per game, about 75. So it's a little on the low side, considering it is a Danish league that is, from my opinion, again, my limited knowledge of Danish football, slower and less physical than the Premier League. It is something that he'll have to work on. He's got one team of the week, which actually we'll get onto in a bit. And he actually scored one goal, which we'll get into in a bit as well. So if we look at his heat map overall, you can see down that left-hand side, he runs it. So starting from all the way, he literally goes from corner to corner. And if you watch as well, just very slightly, there's a little bit of red. It looks like he's on set piece as well with his left foot. But as you can see, he's up and down that left side all the time. Really, it's ideally what we need, especially in a modern fullback, you'll need him to get up and down that side as much as possible, which is exactly what we need. So again, this probably means very little, but just in case you're interested, last match he played with Copenhagen was against AGF. Again, I don't really know that much about them. Coming into how they set up, again, he sets up in that, looks like he sets up in a 4-3-3, similar to how Brendan Rodgers does want to set up Leicester City at the moment. Then you've got, obviously, as the right-hand side, he actually scored the goal in the game and was given man of the match, which was a good sign as well. So, yeah, it's setting up in a very similar formation to the way Leicester want to play, and obviously that means he'll slip straight into it. So coming back to that attribute overview, I'm going to compare him to James Justin in this same thing. So it's a player that I think he's quite similar to for the squad. Obviously, James Justin plays on that left-hand side position more this season before he was injured. And we're looking at this attribute overview and going, right, how does he compare to Kristiansen? Bearing in mind that Kristiansen is 20 and James Justin is still 24, so he's yet to reach his peak yet, still a young player. So we're looking again, creativity similar, attacking similar, technique, again, technicality, Kristiansen slightly better, tackling is better in Justin, and defensively Justin's better. But don't write him off. He's still 4 years younger. But if we've got the versatility of James Justin, he can play in those left or right of a back three as well. And now you've got somebody like Kristiansen. I see this as a really positive step just from the stats. Right, how is it going to work? I've showed you a little bit in the 4-3-3 it'll work, but how would that work in a Leicester setting? Let's look into it. So with the football that Leicester play, we're going to be playing mostly, if Brendan Rodgers has his way, in a 4-3-3. Just to let you know, this is at time of, I'm thinking if everybody is fit, who's going to play in the squad. Because, let's face it, injuries are blinding our squad at the moment, and some players are coming back. But with this current squad that we have, with hopefully no injuries, how is he going to play? So he's going to play on this left-hand side, in my opinion. Fast being a left-footed player, Kristiansen being this same position, he'll push up quite highly, in my opinion. He'll play alongside, and I want to see how he works with the likes of Harvey Barnes on one side and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. Them two taking up that left flank as well. And I think that's what his role. His role will be to get to the byline, cross it in, but also I don't think he'll be the Chilwell effect when he'll come in the inside. He'll I want to see how he'll pair up with somebody like a Harvey Barnes in this case. So 4-3-3, that's how it will work. Again, it gives Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall the license to get into the middle or support Harvey Barnes this way as well. And you'll probably see Kristiansen coming on that left-hand side on the overlap, which we've seen from Luke Thomas, but in my opinion, we've not seen it enough. The main thing we need Kristiansen for is that defensive solidity, but I think one of his roles will be to get higher and whip a ball in. So what about if we play three at the back? Well, I think this is a formation. Granted, some of these players won't be here. We do know that, because of contracts and falling outs and things like that as well. But a back three, like a 3-5-2 almost. So we've got Sionchu, Fuss, and Amate at the back. And I was thinking Kristiansen coming on that right-hand side. So we can see him similar to a Castagna kind of player, getting forwards and backwards, whipping balls in, never stop running, playing really, really well. I can see that working, for example, in this formation. Then again, coming up, let's see what he can do with the likes of James Maddison feeding balls out to him and crossing it in, and then playing up top with Daka Iheanacho as well. So it could be a formation that he could work quite well with. But again, this isn't a formation that he's used to playing in. But if he's a young player, he's 20 years old, he should be able to adapt. So after looking at all that, what are your thoughts? Again, get them in the comments below. My little thoughts and my little 2 pence of it. I think he's a good player. I think he's a real talent from what I was reading on Twitter. Again, I'm not reading too much into it, but the Denmark fans are really disappointed to see him go. He's one of their own, but they know that he's going to go on to the next level, and they really hope that he's going on to a great level, which is great to see. Otherwise, instead of like, all right, take him, it's obviously not a good sign, and we've seen that with the likes of Ryan Bertrand and Yannick Vestergaard. In terms of what we need at this moment in time, we need defensive solidity, and we need experience and leadership. Even though he's a young player, he has shown maturity, but is he the kind of leadership we need at the back? Probably not. I mean, there's the likes of Grimaldo. Again, I don't know if we're going to even go near him, but he'd be one that I'd be looking to going forward because he's got that experience. He's in the peak of his career and he can go on to that next level. Well, whether he'd want to come to a Leicester is a completely something else. But in terms of Kristiansen, I think it's a decent buy if we can train him up, get him to where we need to, and then get him onto another level. He's 20. There's plenty of time and experience in that position. And with Luke Thomas at the moment, he's looking shaky. I think he's a good player, Luke Thomas, but he just seems a little bit out of his depth. And he needs that time away on loan at a minimum and then see if he can come back into the squad. I think it's a good buy overall. It's one that's been lingering on and on and on and on and on. And yes, it's not confirmed at this moment in time, but there's more and more people saying it's more than likely to happen. So we'll have to see. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this kind of video. Again, it's the first time I'm making one of these in forever because Leicester's not been linked to anybody. And the time that we were linked to Wild Fast, I was crying my eyes out because it was so crap. And also, it's the first permanent player we've bought since Diabate in 2018. It's been a while, but I'm hoping this is going to be a player that will get a little bit of time and then build into the team. The problem is we don't have that. They've got it like Wild Fast. We really have to hit the ground running with this one because defensively we're all over the shop. Castagna's going to be similar kind of player. I think in terms of Castagna's got more of the engine and will be up and down a lot more. And I think he's been one of our consistent performers. That's who he's going to be. I've compared him to James Justin, not in terms of the versatility, but in kind of a player that would work in the squad. A player that, again, not the best, wouldn't cut in size, not the most technical and skill past a player, but steady Eddie is sometimes what you need. And I don't think that's too bad. There'll be lots of players trying to do the tricks and flicks. He has done a few of them looking at his highlights, but it's not what we need. The defensive, the tackling, the clearing, the blocking, the working well with other players. And they've obviously scouted him for a reason. So I'm hoping the first signing under Martin Glover is a good one. Yeah, yet to be sorted, but I'm really hoping it comes true. And it looks like it's going to come true. If you enjoyed these kind of videos, like, subscribe, all this good stuff. And we'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye.